The alien invasion scenario. It's been bandied about the idea that a group of extraterrestrials, ETs, from another planet would decide at some point to invade the Earth. And we've seen it in a bunch of different movies. And it was presented or suggested or warned to us by Dr. Werner von Braun, who was one of the paperclip scientists back in the 70s before he died. He was instrumental in providing or designing the rockets that boosted the Apollo missions. He said that there will be several cards played in the dominion of the people, and the last card after the terrorism threat and the Russian threat and the nuclear threat would be the alien card. And he said, of course, it would not be real. And it wouldn't be real. There's no such thing as a real, quote unquote, alien invasion. Because it presupposes that aliens think like us and would send, 100,000 ships to invade a planet to take it over. That's the presumption that they think like, so understand these points, they think like us. B, there'd have to be a reason, a significant reason to invade the planet. So you need a significant, you don't need just a reason. You need a significant reason to invasion, right? Invade the planet. So there has to be some kind of historical agitation, disagreement, conflict, right? Like, think about nation to nation. Before there's a war, there's conflict, differences of opinion, there's some kind of tragedy, there's some kind of incident, there's an attack, there's a retaliation, there's another retaliation, there's an escalation. And the escalation of conflict, if it's not negotiated and settled, right, by negotiators and politicians, what do? They go in to settle talks, right? Talks. We're negotiating, we're calming the situation. Peace negotiations, peace treaties. You ever heard of that? Peace treaties? So, nation to nation, before a war, there is incident, retaliation, conflict, anger, resentment, protest, change of leadership. There are talks, there are failed talks, there are peace treaties, there are broken peace treaties, and they go on for hundreds of years before there's a war. And if there's a war, it's a little war, and then there's a reason for another talk. Okay, there's a peace agreement, right? Peace treaty. And that goes on for decades or centuries. So that's point B, right? Point A is that they think like us, that they're going to send 50,000 spaceships to invade us. Point B is there has to be a reason. This is important. Has to be a reason. So let's expand on that. Is there an alien planet who is an antagonist, who we hate as a planet? maybe you don't know about it, but let's say the elites, is there a planet that they've been antagonizing for years or decades? I don't think so. I don't think so. Has there been any form of retaliation from an alien planet? Now, how would we know it's alien? Because it would be big, it would have advanced technology, it would be obvious. It wouldn't be one meteor, it would be a couple of asteroids. Has any alleged attack damaged our planet? Not that we know of. If anything has happened, it's been if there's anything that has happened, it is very small scale. Individuals, maybe, cripple our technology, our nuclear systems, shut down power. Nothing that is obviously extraterrestrial. I think we can agree on that. There's nothing. So we don't see, what I'm saying is we don't see any escalation of events or retaliation. But there could be some of these, shut down the power, a weather storm. Those could be something. Again, does that inspire a war? So there has to be a reason. 3, or B or C, what do we have as a planet that the aliens don't or can't get elsewhere? Assuming that these ETs can go between planets and solar systems and galaxies, and assuming that all of the stuff here you can find somewhere else. Let's assume. We know there's millions of habitable planets. We know that an extraterrestrial race, a star race, an interstellar race, a stellar race, can travel between planets. They have that technology. Let's assume that. Even if you don't know that, we assume. That's what makes them interstellar. So what we have can be found elsewhere. So that's C. Do we have something precious? Let's say gold. Gold, we have gold. So what do you want to do with that gold? Do you need that gold so much that you're going to destroy another planet to get it? Or could you come down here and send your people here with lots of money and just buy a gold mine and dig your own gold? Like, you understand, do you need war? Do you need an invasion to get the gold? Or can you send other human-looking star people, come down here, and they start working with the elites, they give them money, and they say, okay, you extract the gold, you extract the plutonium, and we'll buy it from you. And even we won't tell you we're aliens. We're just we're a rich conglomerate. We have a business, we have a corporation here, and we're gonna just buy these resources, which we will secretly put in our ships and send off planet. Again, if we have something, a resource they want, is there another way to obtain it? Of course, I'm being facetious. Of course there is another way to obtain it. There's a more diplomatic, there's a more intelligent way to obtain it. Yeah. Start a corporation, put tons of money into it, and just buy the mine. So that's C, right? So what do we have? We have A is, what was A? That they think like us. send a lot of ships. What happens if you send a lot of ships to the Earth and they start blasting cities and dropping bombs? What happens? You destroy the infrastructure. You decimate. Well, you kill millions of people, but can you kill 8 billion people? With the understanding there are people inside the earth, under the earth, in installations. If you killed the surface population, let's say that is presumably possible, which it isn't. You're not going to kill 8 billion. But let's say you killed 8 billion just by bombing the entire, all the cities would be flattened. There'd be no infrastructure left. There'd be no power. There'd be pollution. There would be chemicals in the air from all the destruction of plants, factories, plants, gasoline. The air would be polluted. The ground would be uninhabitable. There would be dead bodies everywhere. It would stink. It would stink. So what are you taking over if you land? What are you taking over? A mess. But that's not even feasible. You're not going to kill 8 billion people. There's going to be 1 billion who live. Right? So there'll always be people. So if you want to invade the planet, if you want something, if you destroyed it, you can't take it because there's devastation. And you won't kill everybody. Now, would an alien race send, 50,000, 100,000 spaceships and just blast the heck out of us? Knowing that you're just going to damage everything. You're not going to get anything out of it. But that would be what we would do. Or would they instead, just redirect an asteroid to hit our planet, and that would wipe us out pretty well, right? A whole asteroid. That might be better than ships. See what I'm saying? So in the movies and in literature and in theory, the idea is they send all these ships and they shoot, and we have like space fights. We fight the jets. But you wouldn't need to do that. If I'm an advanced race, I would redirect an asteroid big enough to hit the Earth, and it would cause massive devastation. It would probably usher in another ice age. And then I would come back in 50 years and take over. If I wanted to take over, I would take whatever minerals, if I wanted the minerals. But there are no minerals, as we've talked about. There's no enemy, which we've talked about. And the method of an invasion is not going to be human. If they blow up the moon, that would cause a catastrophic shift in the orbit of this planet and the function of our systems, of our oceans. That could cause catastrophic damage to our atmosphere, our weather, our oceans, our life, and cause massive death. So you wouldn't need to send 80,000, 100,000, 500,000 ships. That doesn't make any sense. You're not going to fly down and shoot, start shooting people when you could do something on a much larger scale. In the movies, it works. It worked. Before, 50 years ago, it worked because the aliens were like us. They're going to send ships and they're going to invade. But it doesn't make sense. Now, of course, I might be alone on this. I'm one of the few people who thinks like this. The masses who've been watching these movies, who've been programmed to think of conventional warfare, that the aliens would use similar methods of warfare. The masses, right? They're going to believe this stuff. So that, how would you fake an alien invasion? You would have 50,000 of these ships, of either back-engineered ships, right? They've been back-engineering alien ships, back-engineered ships with humans flying them. They've been genetically engineering alien races. We can have human biogenetically engineered races, aliens, flying the ships. And they come in and start blowing things up. Now, to convince people that there's an alien invasion, you got to blow a lot of stuff up. You blow enough stuff up, there's enough casualties, and you do some holographic ships, right? There's a whole army. There's a fleet. There's a space fleet. Holographic, right? Holographic ships, massive motherships, and you got little ships and scout ships and probes. So now everybody's looking up. What you need to do is get everybody looking up, thinking about what else is up there. What else is up there? Look at that. Oh my God, I saw something. I saw something. So over a period of months, you generate this fear, this paranoia, and then you have these ships come down, holographic ships mixed in with real ships blowing stuff up. So what happens? I've already established that this scenario is not logical. Hopefully I've established the scenario is not logical. ABC, remember that? ABC. But people are not logical. The human masses are programmed to think a certain way, and they're going to respond if some alien-looking craft is shooting at them. They're going to say, "We're being invaded by aliens." Now, the government knows about aliens, which they haven't told us because it's a national secret. And here's a little point, a little sub-point. So the government, and even government advisors, senior military, Air Force, intelligence, they all know about extraterrestrials. If they don't, they're not doing their job. They're incompetent, because it's a fact. But here's the caveat. The caveat is it's classified as a national secret. And under the national security, under the National Security Act of every country, you cannot release any information that is classified as a national security or national security threat under the National Security Acts. Again, I don't want people to wrap themselves up in the terminology. But if I was a government advisor, let's say I'm a presidential advisor, I have clearance, because if there's extraterrestrial talks, I have to advise the president on how to deal with it. I have to know about extraterrestrials. But I am an intelligence person. I am under this National Security Act. I cannot say anything. Even I go on national television, I go on the news, I will deny it. Because, and I'm not breaking the law. By law, I cannot tell you, so I will deny it until that classification is changed. Under a war, under an alien war, even a fake one, that will change. And you would see people come out and start talking about extraterrestrials. But they've known about this for decades. They got decades of knowledge. But again, let's say I'm a presidential advisor or prime minister advisor. I know about aliens. I know they're real. I cannot tell you that because I would be committing treason. It's treason. I would be committing treason, and I would go to jail. I would be charged. I would go to court. Like, I would lose my job. I would lose my career. I would lose my family. I would lose everything. So people think, well, gee, there's a whistleblower, high government official comes out and says extraterrestrials are real. Their whole life is destroyed. They're not going to do that. They're not that stupid. They're not that stupid because there's no benefit. It's not going to change anything. And we know that because people have tried it. B, their life is destroyed. C, they've committed treason. You've committed a crime. High treason. And D, if we go to D, these people at the high levels of government, they're loyal to the government. They would not betray the government. That's what gets them to the high level, is loyalty. You're loyal to your nation. You will do anything for your country. You would not commit treason and sabotage your country. Even you hate the president or the prime minister, you will not commit treason. You will say everything else. You will say, I hate the president, but you will not go to violate the Security Act. You will not commit treason. There's levels, right? So the high ups, they know about it. They cannot tell you, and they are not lying. Let me continue on this a little bit. If they go on television and they were asked by the news media, do you know anything about extraterrestrials? They would say no, and they are not lying. They're protected by the law. They're protected by national security. I don't have to tell you. So I think people get lost in this because they think, well, no one's ever said anything. It's 100% true that there are extraterrestrials. There have been negotiations, cooperation, agreements for decades, and that they know. They will never tell you. Now, who would tell you? I would tell you. Why can I tell you? Because I wouldn't be committing treason because I don't work. I'm not a high level anything. So I can tell you. People like me who are outside the system can tell you, and that's what we do here, is we share these secrets that, again, in some ways, I'm acting on behalf of these people who can't say something. And they would love to say, I'm sure they would love to tell you. But what happens is if the government official tells you about aliens, it compromises the security of a nation. It could compromise other security operations. It could compromise undercover personnel, right? We have undercover agents here, there. They get exposed. The whole thing collapses. It will be a terrible thing. And society would be upset that you knew, you didn't tell us. You knew and you didn't tell us. You got people in the media who are covering this up. You've killed people. You've killed people to shut them up. So the society, there would be this social unrest. There would be distrust of the government. And that's what leads to a collapse of a nation. Is this kind of treason. That's why these acts are in place, to prevent this. But that's why people like me can come up here and say stuff, and they will call me crazy. They write me off. He doesn't know what he's talking about. And and my life suffers, my personal life suffers, I suffer, but there's no compromise to the nation. Although, in some ways, yeah, if the more that people understand what I'm saying, people will they will be informed, but not to the level of you getting angry, because I'm a nobody. So the advantage of being a nobody and having no government official or security connection is that nobody will listen to you. Very few people will listen to you, and nobody will get upset. So the government is all about controlling social unrest, right? If you found out what's really happening, you would be upset. So you don't want to know everything. A lot of people think, I want to know everything. You don't. Nobody wants to know everything. I don't want to know everything. I already know too many things, and I don't want to know these things. Unfortunately, I know certain things. And I have been talking about ETs for 20 years. And this is not something that's going to change, because it's a fact. It's a fact. The other fact is, there's not going to be an alien invasion. It's not going to happen. It's great for the movies. It's great for fiction. It's great for theater. The masses believe this kind of stuff, but it's not practical. There's no other planet that wants to destroy us or wants to take us over. And if there was, there are many other methods to do it. You're more likely just to corrupt the government or control government leaders or pay them off or sign agreements with them and have them get you what you want. That's what I would do. I would go to the president of a country. There's my ship. I want your gold. I'll give you, these batteries to put in your electric cars, and they will last for 1,000 miles. You go to the people and you say, we got batteries. Our scientists have discovered batteries that will last for 1,000 miles. Right? And then secretly you give me all your gold. That's the way an intelligent alien group would do it. And it would be even more complicated. We will teach you, how to cure certain diseases. You would discover things in wireless communications. Well, here, this is called a cell phone. You introduce this cell phone to your people. You look like a smart guy. I want your plutonium, right? I want your salt. Give me salt and give me your cane sugar. And your plums. I want your plums. Plums. I want earth plums. And then you come out and say, ladies and gentlemen, we discovered cellular technology, this little device here, you can call your mother in a different city. That way, you look good, and then we get what we want. And that's more likely how you wouldn't take over, you wouldn't invade, but this is how you would get, right? And you would get the country, the planet would get computers, televisions, electric cars, cellular phones, certain discoveries in medicine, like a heart transplant, brain surgery. We'll teach you how to do brain surgery. We'll teach you how to do liver transplant. Right? That's it. That's what the aliens would do. You give us the salt, give us your plums. I want those plums and those tomatoes, they're heirloom tomatoes, and the plutonium, and give us some of your children. And we want to genetically modify some people, so let us do that. They got these good batteries. You can have electric cars 1,000 miles. Then as an alien, you would say, okay, now this country has all that stuff. Now I'm going to go to the other country and get the same thing. We'll go to Japan, give them the same deal. I gave, Malaysia cell phones. I'm going to give you a cell phone, but I want ramen. I want all the ramen you got. But this is what happens. This is how you take over a planet. You don't take over a planet. Because it'd be foolish, because the planet has all these resources. You wouldn't destroy the resources. You wouldn't just flatten the whole planet unless you really, really hated these people. We don't have that enemy yet. We haven't pissed another planet off because we haven't gone out there enough. Even if we did, it doesn't make sense to invade. There's the idea. I'm hoping I'm getting across that the idea of an alien invasion is childish. Or it's ludicrous. It's a ludicrous. But again, I'm not the majority, but I want to convey that the idea of an alien invasion is ludicrous, so that if there is that idea presented, if the media starts suggesting it, it is a fake alien invasion, and you should stay calm. Call it out for what it is. Don't let them initiate martial law and invade your freedoms and lock you in your home, because there's no such thing. It's a fake. Yeah, the ships could be the back engineered. The ships are dangerous. They're gonna kill people. They have engineered. They have it in secret labs. They have engineered people that look alien. So they could crash. What I'm saying, they could crash a ship that looks alien, and inside there are two alien-looking pilots, and they could say, and the leaders could say, well, we've never seen that before, and they're from another planet, but they're actually from here. Made in-house. You know those companies made in-house, homemade. We made it. The muffins are made in store. Aliens, ships made here. But to the masses, that would be very convincing. But to the educated, is not. Because ETs are not that stupid. They're just not. And if it was a genuine ship and there's genuine ETs in the ship, it's not an invasion. They just shot down a ship, It's Roswell 2.0. Again, it's not an invasion. It's an orchestration, it's a manipulation, it's a false flag event. Fake alien invasion, no such thing. Don't believe it. Do not believe it. Stay calm. Stay calm. Stay